Only on CBS This Morning, two men who say that Michael Jackson sexually abused them as children are opening up about their experiences with the pop icon. Wade Robson and James Safechuck are featured in an explosive new documentary that premieres this weekend on HBO. Both men also sued the Jackson estate, but their lawsuits were dismissed because of the statute of limitations. They are appealing that. Jackson has always denied any inappropriate behavior with children. Robson and Safechuck told us about their relationships with Jackson, including very graphic allegations of abuse. A warning here, some of these details are quite disturbing. Before you all met Michael Jackson, what did he mean to you?
I saw the making of Thriller, just instantly became obsessed. I wanted to be just like, and I dressed like him every day and did my hair and had my hair permed to look like him and, you know, all that stuff.
I wasn't necessarily a big fan. And then when I got the commercial,
Mr. Jackson?
The
Pepsi commercial.
Yeah, the Pepsi commercial. When You See Me Meet Him is actually my first time seeing him. You know, at that point I was pretty excited. It was otherworldly, I guess.
James Safechuck and Wade Robson discuss the intimate details of their relationships with Michael Jackson.
Everybody wanted to meet Michael or be with Michael.
In the upcoming HBO documentary, Leaving Neverland. That's the name of Jackson's ranch, where Robson claims 7 years of sexual abuse with the world-famous performer first began.
I mean, this was just the most magical thing I'd ever seen. And that first night, Michael just kind of took us on a little bit of a tour, and he said to me and my sister, you can stay in one of the guest rooms or you can stay in here with me if you want. And my reaction was, of course I want to stay with you. We had one more night that way. Myself and my family were going to leave and go on another kind of vacation to the Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. I was devastated to leave Michael. Michael was devastated for me to leave. He actually sobbed.
So you got to stay.
So I got to stay. And so it was just Michael and I in Neverland for the next week.
And your parents allowed that?
My parents allowed that. Mm-hmm. Within either the first or second night of Michael and I being alone at Neverland, the night started changing. One of the ways I remember it starting is, Michael just sort of starting to touch my legs and touch my crotch over my pants. It progressed to him performing oral sex on me, him showing me how to perform oral sex on him.
Did it scare you? Did you think it was wrong?
The couple days prior to the abuse starting, he started touching me, just in the sense of like, hand on my leg, lots of hugs, kissing my forehead, rubbing my hands. So there'd been this kind of development of physical closeness that was happening already that felt like a father. It just felt amazing. As Michael started doing these sexual acts, he started talking to me about God brought us together. We love each other, and this is how we
love each other.
We love each other, and this is how we show each other our love.
James, you're nodding in agreement to what he's saying. Tell me what happened to you.
He introduced me to masturbation. He said I taught him how to French kiss. And then it moves on to oral sex. But
Are you frightened or thinking this is weird or wrong?
No, it's in the context of a loving, close relationship. There's no alarm bells going off in your head or any thoughts like that. Really, it's just, I love this person and we're trying to make each other happy. He said, I was his first, but even as a kid, you don't even know what that means. So you're lovers and you're best friends.
What does that mean, James? You're in a relationship and you're lovers. You're a little boy.
Right.
And he's a 30-something man, and you're a little boy. Because at that age, how do you even know what that means?
You don't. You just feel really connected to someone, and you just love them intensely.
The public in general thinks it's violent, that it's very painful, but what you're describing is totally the opposite of that.
I mean, he didn't beat me. He didn't, he never said mean things to me. It was all, we love each other.
In spite of what they're claiming today, in 1993, both Robson and Safechuck denied being molested by Jackson when allegations were brought by another boy, Jordan Chandler. That case settled out of court. You all both tell a very descriptive story about, sexual activity with Michael Jackson, yet when you were asked to testify in 2005, And Wade, you did. You got on the stand and you testified in his behalf and vehemently denied that any sexual activity had taken place.
Yes.
Why did you do that?
The training, Michael's training of me to testify began the first night that he started abusing me. He started telling me that if anybody else ever finds out, we'll both go to jail. Both of our lives will be over.
The 2005 criminal trial of Michael Jackson centered on molestation charges brought by child cancer survivor named Gavin Arvizo. Court testimony shows that from the stand, Wade Robson denied ever kissing, showering, or even cuddling with Jackson. You know, they credit your testimony in part for Michael's acquittal. You know, you were called really a star witness. You withstood a blistering cross-examination, and he was acquitted. On some level, do you feel guilty about that now? Do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think about that. I have, and I do. I wish that I was ready. I wish that I could have helped Gavin Arvizo receive some justice and some validation for what happened to him. That was just like what happened to me and just like what happened to James. And I wish that I could have played a role in, at that point, stopping Michael from abusing however many other kids he did after that.
Do you think that there are others out there?
I do think there are others out there, but I also don't expect them to just come out now that we're coming out. It's such a difficult thing to do, to come out. You have to do it when you're ready.
We can't change what happened to us. It happened, it's done. But what can we do with it now? How can we provide comfort for other survivors? That's what this is about. And Michael just happens to be the guy, the abuser, in this child sexual abuse story.
Now, you know, we talked to the Jackson family yesterday, and they say these men, we should point out again, according to the Jackson family, they're admitted liars and opportunists who are now trying to capitalize on Michael Jackson's death and exploit the Jackson name. Neither one of these men were paid for appearing in the documentary. They will get nothing for appearing, but they think it's important, they say, to tell their story. And they want people to know. And I thought it was interesting when they said, when you think of child sexual abuse, you think that it's a very frightening, painful thing. But for them, they didn't even know that anything wrong was happening to them because they're little boys.
You can't overlook the detail that they provided too about how that relationship evolved.
And what's so powerful about the detail is not the acts, it's the narrative and the fact that both of them didn't know each other and the fact that they both heard a version of the same very surprising and complicated narrative from, or they claim from Michael Jackson, and that those two things are similar.
And each one of them said they thought they were the only one in keeping the secret. Keeping the secret is the thing that often takes you down.
I've said it before.
They've had a lot of problems
Abuse
since
fosters
then.
in silence.
Exactly.
And it's only until people begin to speak out about it and expose it that it starts to end.
And that's why they're speaking up.